Archdiocese of Washington is one of many around the country helping the faithful to celebrate and observe Holy Week while also observing social distancing guidelines. Archbishop Wilton Gregory celebrated Palm Sunday Mass at the Cathedral of St. Matthew the Apostle here in Washington, D.C., as thousands watched online. Due to coronavirus restrictions, this year's Holy Week liturgies are being live streamed online. Archbishop Gregory joins me now by Skype. Thank you so much for joining us today, Your Excellency.
Thank you, Tracy.
I know it's been about 3 weeks now since you announced that Mass is open to the public in the Archdiocese of Washington would not be celebrated because of public health and safety concerns. Can you tell us what that decision was like for you at the time and now especially during Holy Week?
Well, it was a painful decision because as a bishop, my job is to bring people to church, not to prohibit them from coming to church. But because we want to be good citizens and follow the directives of our duly elected officials and obviously follow the recommendations of the medical and scientific world, who advise us that in order for us to respond most effectively to this coronavirus, we should not be gathering in any great numbers. And so we decided that the best thing that we could do, although obviously a painful thing, would not to hold religious services. Obviously, at this week, which is the apex of our Christian calendar, so it's painful.
I know that you've also made an appeal to the faithful to continue to financially support local parishes while there are no in-person masses. Can you talk about just how important that is right now?
Well, the parishes and the institutions that provide religious services depend upon the generosity of the faithful. And when the faithful aren't there, the generosity lags. And it means that bills can't be paid. The salaries of parish workers can't be paid. And so it's very, very challenging for parishes to try to maintain their services, try to keep their employees fully employed without the generosity, the weekly generosity of the faithful.
I want to talk about this. Over this past Sunday, you spoke about what you call the stark absence of God's people in St. Peter's Square as Pope Francis delivered the Orbi et Orbi papal address and apostolic blessing last month, remarking on, quote, the silence of the moment. Any advice on what we should draw upon as Catholics as we celebrate Holy Week in the midst of this pandemic?
Well, one of the things, Tracy, that we listen to every Holy Week is the profound importance of silence. That when Christ himself was accused, after he responded, he then went silent. Because there are times in life when words are inadequate to explain or to describe the depth of feeling that the moment has caused us. And certainly, the Holy Father standing at the front of St. Peter's looking at an empty Piazza San Pietro, that was a powerful lesson because it's so contrary to what we are accustomed to seeing him riding around in the Pope Mobile and greeting people and kissing babies and praying with the crowds that came to pray with him.
It definitely is a tough time indeed. I want to switch gears just a little bit. You were named Archbishop of Washington a little more than a year ago, and at that time you pledged to rebuild trust. As you reflect upon this past year, how do you think that process is going?
Well, it's going, I believe, with God's grace, it's going forward. You know, Tracy, trust is a very fragile gift. It can be broken very, very easily, but it takes time to reestablish. It takes time for people to come to trust religious leaders, government leaders, political leaders who have violated that trust. And so it's an uphill battle. But I might also say, here in the Archdiocese of Washington, I have sensed a spirit of generosity and openness people want to believe. I hope that I can continue to give them reasons to believe and to trust.
Well, I know that you don't have much more time with us, but I do want to ask you this last question. You're the first African American to lead the Archdiocese of Washington. Can you tell us what that means to you?
Well, first of all, I'm honored that the Holy Father selected me. I'm honored and humbled when African American Catholics applaud and support me. But I'm also humbled by the openness that all of God's people here have received me. They want a bishop that will love them, serve them, care for them, laugh with them, cry with them, be amidst of their family and their faith life with them. And that's what I'm trying to do each and every day.
Well, we are so grateful that you're here with us. Thank you so much, Your Excellency. Archbishop Wilton Gregory, thank you again.
Thank you, Tracy. God bless.